was asked in chat. So, Navid, I think, you asked about Primordial Trolls in the Dragonflight expansion. Now, yes, Blizzard have confirmed that we will be getting sort of a look at the first trolls, but there's something really interesting about the trolls, and it's actually that hook that is one of my speculation videos is about Bwonsamdi in the very near future, and I believe it's the Primordial Trolls hook that is going to allow for Bwonsamdi to be an element within the Dragonflight expansion, mainly because we know that Bwonsamdi is not of Azeroth. Bwonsamdi states that while he is not a troll, he did see the birth of the trolls. So Bwonsamdi was there at the very beginning. So these primordial trolls would probably have been around and sort of conversed in one way or another with Bwonsamdi. I like it mainly because I feel like there's quite a number of races within World of Warcraft that, in my opinion, do not get anywhere near the exposure or love that they're supposed to get. And I count among those the trolls, the Tauren, the dwarfs, very much so. Gnomes to some extent, but at least with gnomes, every once in a while, there will be some level of story for them, right? Volperas are pretty new, Marco, so not really going to pay too much attention to the Alliance raids, the Allied races right now, because they don't really... They're brand new, right? So, what else? The Draenei, to some extent as well, although the Draenei at least have a pretty good origin story, right? So, with the Draenei, while they don't have a lot of modern lore, they do have a decent amount of origin story, which is at least something, you know? So I would love to see a lot more about the trolls. And I specifically like the trolls because the trolls is literally part of the fabric of everything Azeroth. You know, if you're talking Azeroth, the trolls were the very first mortals to evolve on Azeroth. So these primordial trolls will have been around probably, like, maybe since Kalimdor, you know, like before Kalimdor even. And unlike, of course, Azshara and the elves, who kind of caused a lot of the splitting up and the issues, you know, and sort of lived through a lot of those issues, these trolls weren't a part of it. So their lives would have changed almost overnight without them necessarily knowing anything about it. You know, so it's going to be an interesting story to see sort of from the other side of things. Yes, the trolls were the first. So the current speculation theory, basically backed up by fact. So we know factually that the trolls were first. And then the other thing we know, because it's suggested very heavily, is that the elves evolved from the trolls. So elves were once trolls who then became something entirely different. Insofar as we think the elves were trolls that lived around the Well of Eternity. And the Well of Eternity and the magic of the Well of Eternity changed their form into what we now know as elves, right? High elves first, and then came the night elves and all the rest of them. So the trolls were the original. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what their relationship is with us, what their attitudes are with us, and probably going to be some kind of allied race, most likely. Most likely there will be some level of allied race play within the Dragonflight expansion. I'm wondering if we'll get more, like outside of the primordial trolls. I can see even more allied races being a thing, you know? As for speculation, I'm gonna have to go think about what impact that could have on the story, because I'm genuinely not sure. Don't they have a lot of lore behind them? I mean, the trolls have a lot of stuff, ranging from Gurubashi to Zul'jin, Zandalari, and so on. Darren, yes, they also have good starting lore, but if we're talking about races, sort of the base races of World of Warcraft, for the most part, World of Warcraft have been about orcs, humans, to some extent night elves, a little bit of blood elves, and then thanks to Sylvanas, a little bit of the undead, right? But that's it. The other races in World of Warcraft sort of get throwaway shit, right? Maybe they'll have one character that kind of represents them for the most part, but as in stories about those races, I would love to see stories that dive into dwarfs, for example, and we may actually get that. Remember where the dwarfs come from, right? The dwarfs were constructs, titan constructs, that thanks to the gift of flesh, or the curse of flesh, became dwarves. Now, maybe we see dwarven constructs in the Dragon Isles, right? We could see dwarven constructs on the Dragon Isles, so basically the stone form of what dwarfs would eventually become, and we could get some sort of early looks into what the dwarven culture would have been like before they got before the curse of flesh, so to speak. So there's so many stories that can be can be explored in the Dragon Isle the Dragonflight expansion, that I'm excited for that specifically. I don't really care. So we were talking about this yesterday during the Patreon live stream, and I said there is none of the major storylines for Dragonflight excites me at all. I couldn't care less about Rathian. That's a lie. Let's not say couldn't care less, because I am excited for it, but it's not really the thing that makes me excited for Dragonflight. I'm okay with Rathian's story and, the Black Dragonflight and all that, and all the Dragonflights and all that. Yeah, it's fine. What I'm more hyped about is sort of the base races of World of Warcraft, the base story of World of Warcraft. The history of Azeroth is what is exciting me right now for Dragonflight, because it's been so long. We've gone to the Shadowlands. We've been all over the place. We've fought all of these cosmic level things. But we're finally coming home, We're finally finding our way back to Azeroth in its primordial form. I love that. I love the idea of it, So yeah, personally, sign me up. I'm ready. I'm really ready. Still unsure on who the main villain will be for that add-on. Well, we don't know insofar as... Well, we do know that there is a main villain. We were told that there is one, but Blizzard have not divulged that yet, and I like that. I like the fact that Blizzard seems to be treating a lot of their story with more secrecy, which is something we've been asking for a long time, We've wanted more secrecy. We've wanted the sort of, don't tell me, show me. And if you look at the PTR for 2.5, even the PTR for 9.2, Blizzard sort of hid a lot of stories. A lot of the stories were only available once the expansion became available. And that's great, more of that, please. So if we can go into Dragonflight and not know who the final boss is, not know, anything about these trolls that we're going to meet, or dwarven constructs that we're going to meet, or basically anything about the world in general from a story standpoint, sign me up. That's what I want, because I want to go into the Dragon Isles and be amazed. Run around for, like it was the first time I played World of Warcraft, and actually discover things. And as I discover it, be able to share it with you guys. When oh my god, guys, I just found this thing. It's so fucking cool. Rather than me pulling up Wowhead months before the expansion goes live and say, oh my god, guys, I found this cool thing. Now here's the wall of text of the quest, right? Because what would be cooler? I'll ask you guys. If I made a video showing you how I discover something in the world with the graphics of WoW, and I run to the cave and I show you where this thing is that I discovered, or Wowhead in the background and just a bunch of quest text that sort of highlights a cool thing that may be in the story. What's cooler? I would go for actual game footage of things being discovered in the game rather than things just being like in text, right? So that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm really hoping that that's what we're going to get. And I hope that answers your question, Nevid, to some extent. Should be banned, well, law-wise. Oh, that's a tough one, Alex. That is a tough one.